Hey guys, so today I'm going to be teaching you guys some tips and tricks for bead wrap keychains and lanyards, as well as a couple different designs. So I'm going to be showing you how to do a basic color block, a basic ombre, as well as how to add flowers to a bead wrap. Okay, so starting off with the paracord that I use, this is size 550 paracord, and you can get it from pretty much any craft store or hardware store, and it comes in a couple different colors too. I know at Michael's they have packs that have a bunch of different colors. I personally use black and white, and I prefer the white one. So this is a size for a mini keychain, so it's cut to about 14 inches long, and this is a good enough size where it'll still loosely fit around the wrist, but it's also short enough that it can go on like a set of keys. So a question I frequently get asked is how I keep my beads nice and smooth around my bead wrap without too many gaps or bunching. And I personally think it comes with a lot of practice, but also in the way that you hold the beads while you're wrapping the thread. So how I like to hold my thread is with my index finger and middle finger holding on to the actual thread, and then with my pinky pushing down on the beads. And I hold my cord pretty tightly away while I'm pushing down on the beads. And as you'll see, each time I wrap, I'm going to lift up my thumb or my pinky and then put it back. This kind of allows for the beads on the thread to push back on your pinky without getting too bunchy, and then they can kind of relax and have some space in between them. This helps with the bunching, that way you don't have too many beads that are bunching on top of each other, and then you'll have a nice smooth bead wrap. Alright, so starting off for the first design, I first went on ahead and put 100 turquoise beads on here. So as you can see, it's just 100 turquoise beads wrapped around. And for this design, you can honestly do any color. Turquoise and fire colors is usually just a popular combo that people like. And then you're then going to do 10 of each color of the fire color ombre. And you can do, some people like to just do like red, orange, yellow, but I like to do 2 shades of red, 2 shades of orange, and then yellow. I think the gradient looks a little better that way, and the gradient's a little bit longer, so it takes up more space on the keychain. Okay, so here is just the first set of ombre, and then on the other side you're just going to repeat the same thing but backwards. So you're going to go yellow, orange, red, black on the other side. Alright, so this is your first section of this keychain, and it's just all of our ombre colors with our turquoise. And for the rest of the keychain, you can repeat the same pattern. You can go 100 turquoise and then your fire colors and continue that all the way around. Or sometimes I like to do this design first and then do something else here, repeat this design in the middle, and then repeat this design here. It just depends on what you want to do. I think I'm gonna do a bigger ombre, but we'll see what I end up coming up with here. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how I do more of a subtle gradient. So I'm going to use all the same colors, do all the same things, except I'm going to do 10 alternating beads in between each color. So for example, when I'm going from turquoise to black, I'm going to do 10 beads of alternating turquoise and black. Then I'm going to do 10 plain black beads. And then to go to the next color, I'm going to do 10 alternating black and red, and then 10 red beads, if that makes sense. So I'll show you how it looks before I start with. Okay, so here's a better close-up. So as you can see, I have the 10 alternating black and turquoise, the 10 plain black beads, 10 alternating black and dark red, 10 dark red, and then 10 alternating dark red and light red. I messed up a little bit here, but I'll go back in and fix that. And then my 10 red beads. So this is what it should look like before you start wrapping your cord. Alright, so here's what the ombre looks like once I'm done. You can see it's much more of a subtle gradient rather than our harsh gradient we did before. So you can honestly do this with like any colors. I like to do it when I'm transitioning from like lighter blues to darker blues or lighter reds to darker reds. It's kind of the same concept. It's a nice ombre touch. And this one I actually did 20 white beads in the middle instead of just 10 plain ones. This kind of personal choice. I sometimes like to change up the number of plain colored beads I do. Usually I do like 10 alternating and then 20 of whatever color I'm using. But if you want your gradient to be shorter, you can do 10. You can even do up to 50. I think 50 is kind of a little bit big. It just depends on what you want to do. But this is the more subtle gradient. So I'm just going to repeat the same pattern on the other side of my white. Okay, so here's what both of those designs look like together. So as you can see, this one is much more of a gradient and it's much longer, so it takes up more space. This one is also really good for bead wrapped lanyards because it takes up a lot more space. And when you do a lanyard, you can even elongate it more by adding more beads. And then this one's a good filler. I like this one. It's short, right to the point, and this was the first design I learned how to do on the bead wrap. So yeah, these are these two designs. Okay, so in order to do the flower stitch, you're gonna need a couple different colors, or you can use all the same color for your actual flower petals, and then you'll need a different color for the center. So you're gonna bead wrap all the way until you're ready to, of course, add your flowers. And then the pattern you're gonna use is 2 of whatever your flower color is, 6 of the in-between color, and then alternate main color, center of your flower, and then main color again, and then 6 more of your in-between color, and then 2 more of your petal colors. So here's what it should look like. And then when you wrap it, you should have something like this. And your flowers are not always going to be perfect because bead sizes change and are not always consistent. Also, how tight you wrap might change the number of in-between beads that you use. So it really just depends. I always like to map it out and wrap it, do a test wrap before I actually tack it down, just to make sure that the colors line up where I want them to. And then to add your next flower, you're just going to take however many beads it takes to wrap around till you're at the next section you want to add a bead to, or a flower to. So I want to add a flower right here, so I end my main color background right where I would like to start the next flower. And then I'm going to repeat the exact same thing. So I'm going to take 2 of my main color, then 6 of my in-between, then alternating petal, center petal, then 6 more beads. And then again with my 2 petal colors. And here's what it should look like before you wrap it. Then you wrap it, and here's what it should look like. So you'll again repeat the same process of adding your flowers, however far in between you want them to be. I like mine to kind of be a little bit scattered as they're a cute little accent. But obviously if you're doing more flowers or you're doing a whole keychain with flowers on it, you'll want to kind of make the spaces a little bit smaller in between each flower.